Hello, friends. The 712th day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. At the end of the week, Russian telegram channels stated that their troops had advanced into Avdiivka from the north. This was confirmed by Ukrainian and Western military experts. Yesterday, Ukrainian military journalists began sounding the alarm about Avdiivka. The editor-in-chief of the website Censor, Butusov, said that the Russians have advanced into the Avdiivka development zone. There are street battles in the city, and the situation has become critical. According to him, Russian units were entrenched in one of the streets on the northern outskirts of Avdiivka. If measured in a straight line, the enemy's advanced units are located 1.5 kilometers from the entrance to the city. 2 weeks ago, the enemy managed to enter 2 streets on the southern outskirts of the city. The situation is critical, Butusov said. The problems of the Ukrainian armed forces, according to him, lie in the depletion of personnel, ammunition, and poor interaction between Ukrainian units. In addition, the Russians have launched a hunt for Ukrainian drone operators. According to Butusov, any structures and antenna installation sites are subject to artillery strikes and bombardment by controlled aerial bombs. Lies in reports at the general level, the desire to reassure oneself and not irritate senior management with bad news are very harmful. And senior management wants to listen only to positive, not critical information. Therefore, there is no adequate response to changes in the situation, Butusov reports. Another famous military journalist, Saplienko, also writes about the critical situation in the city. He confirms that Russian attack aircraft, taking advantage of cloudy weather, which made high-quality aerial reconnaissance impossible, entered the city from the northeast, from the Avdiivka quarry. They bypassed the Ukrainian battle formations and entrenched themselves in urban areas. This means that hundreds of meters remain to the main logistics artery of the Ukrainian defenders, but the situation is not yet hopeless, the military says. If there are infantry reserves with experience in fighting in urban areas, a Russian breakthrough is still possible. Liquidate. In fact, the fate of Avdiivka will be decided one of these days, writes Saplienko. The fact that the situation near Avdiivka is complicated can also be indicated by the transfer of Abrams tanks there. One of them appeared yesterday in a story about the 47th Brigade fighting there. Both Western and Ukrainian experts are reporting today about the new advance of Russians in Avdiivka from the northern side. Judging by the map of the Ukrainian military telegram channel Deep State, the Russians occupied the entire territory north of the Avdiivka quarry. According to data from the Ukrainian side, north of Avdiivka and in the northern part of the city, Russian troops advanced along Sapernova and Lesy Ukrainki streets. The advance of the Russians was recorded in an area up to 3.9 kilometers wide and to a depth of up to 750 meters. I note that Ukraine has not officially confirmed this. Thus, the head of the city military administration, Barabash, said today that the tense situation remains in Avdiivka, but there are no street battles. I do not confirm the information about advances in the city and street battles in Avdiivka. The fact that they entered the Dasha area near the city, yes, but this is not urban development. These are not city streets, Barabash said. The tense situation is also in the Kupiansk section of the Kharkiv direction. The commander of the ground forces, Siersky, arrived there yesterday. Heavy fighting is taking place on all sectors of the front. The enemy continues to conduct high-intensity assault operations and is constantly bringing in new reserves, the general said, and gave orders for the redistribution of forces and means. According to the Ukrainian military telegram channel Deep State, heavy fighting continues in this direction for Avdiivka and east of Terny, where the Russians have advanced somewhat. Here's what Ukrainian soldiers write about the situation near Terny and Yevhenii in the Liman sector. The situation is incredibly difficult, a very difficult approach to the positions, which negatively affects the evacuation, which takes place only in the dark, and you need to carry the wounded for about 3 kilometers under fire. There are constant attacks from the enemy, and positions are constantly changing hands. The biggest difficulty is that the enemy has maximum dominance in artillery. During the day, it is impossible to even stick your nose out of the dugouts. Therefore, the situation is incredibly difficult. Meanwhile, the video of a Ukrainian military man is gaining views on TikTok, where he criticizes the information policy of the Ukrainian authorities and calls not to underestimate the enemy. They made this telethon where we are winning. They say that it is not professional mobilized people who are fighting against us. Yes, they have had a serious army for a long time. Here is a professional army fighting near Kupiansk. If they shoot, then after the first, second blow, already the third time they hit the target clearly, says the military man. By the way, this military man is Yaroslav Godjanok. He is the former secretary of the Borispol City Council, whom Zelensky kicked out of a meeting in 2019 and called him a robber. The nickname became his call sign in the army.
Friends, this channel exists solely thanks to your support. If you have the opportunity and desire to support the channel, I will be very grateful to you. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.